Welcome to Scriptures with Andrew Daniels presents General Topics. And today I'm happy to have our regular special guest on board again to be discussing a very important topic, which I will keep till, I finish introducing them. And welcome again, Sarah Adebambo.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Oh, we appreciate you always. As always, this is just getting more and more exciting.
Really
And
is.
also, we thank God for the engagement.
Amen,
We
yeah.
thank God for lives that are being reached by
Yes.
this as well. And with your input, thank you so much.
Thank God. Thank you.
Also, we have a very, very special guest, very close to my heart. Come on now. And this is presenting to you for the first time on Scriptures with Andrew Daniels on General Topics. She chose this one. I must come here. And she is Hola.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to be here.
Oh, amazing. Did I say that? Is it Hola or Hola?
Hola is fine.
Hola,
Yes,
hola.
Yes.
I'll please.
I like the fact that people don't know exactly if I'm male hola or female hola when they talk to me about the phone. I kinda like that. So hola is fine.
Right, amazing. And I'll try as much as possible to pronounce it the way she say it. Hola, hola, hola. And yes, coming together today to discuss the subject matter. And this is blowing out at the moment. I mean, it's never ending. And it's something that we need to be getting ourselves involved in on a regular basis. Marriage is the subject matter. But also, I've been hearing, you've got to marry your best friend. Come on, Sarah.
I don't agree with that.
You don't agree with
No,
that?
I don't.
I would say,
Yes.
for the benefit of your peace of mind,
Yes.
marry someone that at least you like.
I think that's the major key though.
If you get a best friend, it's a bonus.
It's a bonus.
But marry someone you like. The reason I say that, obviously, marriage is a beautiful thing, an institution made by God.
Yes.
It's something that has been established from the beginning, and we know it is a beautiful thing. Unfortunately, for one reason or another, people go through experiences, which is life, because we're all human beings. Yes. But I think, especially in our culture, as Africans or as Black people, a lot of people stay in marriages because of the children. But the children will grow up.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
children will leave the house.
Yes.
And then that is when you will see what your relationship was truly based on. When you're not arguing about school fees anymore. You're not arguing about, who's taking the kids to after school club. But
Yes.
you have to stare at this
Yeah.
man. This man has to stare at you. That's your permanent roommate or prison mate, depending on the situation.
Good one.
So marry someone you like.
Yeah.
But we know as Christians, it's not just about feelings and emotions, but marriage is about destiny. It's about purpose. So if it's someone, the Bible talks about not being unequally yoked. So there are so many components. But I would say to that statement, marry someone you like at the very least.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I think that's a very good point because
Wow.
I feel like people are very different.
Yeah.
Yes.
Different personalities coming together, and
Yes.
I just feel like with marriage, I think for me, I've come to the point where I feel marriage is not for everyone.
Yeah,
And I think
absolutely.
that's fine. And
Absolutely.
it doesn't make you a bad person that you don't want to get married. You want to live your life the way you want to live your life because marriage is hard.
Yes.
It's
Hard
even
work.
it's hard work, and people don't understand how difficult it is to be married to someone.
Yes.
And I watch a lot of videos about how women think about certain things, how men think about certain things, more of the women, because I just feel like some women are delusional. Like you want your cake and you want to eat your cake and have it. Like
At the same
it doesn't
time.
make
Yeah.
any sense. Everybody keeps talking about being submissive, or you have to submit to your husband, you have to be this and that, and it's a two-way streak.
Oh, yes.
People don't get
yes.
that. They keep quoting the Bible of the woman has to be submissive,
Yeah.
but the question is why. I feel like women. Sorry, before I go to the question, I think women are naturally able to submit,
Yes.
but you have to give them a reason to submit.
That's correct.
If you treat them really badly, they're not going to submit to you.
And mind you, even just to follow from that, but even that same scripture that says wives should submit, before then it said husband loves your wife
Right,
as
yes.
Christ
Yeah.
loved the church.
Yes.
is your husband ready to lay
Yeah.
down his life? Because
That's
the,
the
the,
thing.
the love of God, Christ was a sacrificial one. I find that, yes, I'm not married, so those in the comments that may come for me, but we have the Bible as a guide.
Yeah.
Yes.
If a man is constantly going on about a wife needing to submit, but there is no source or there's no indication of him loving a selfless kind of love, then
Yes.
I question your
Yeah.
your ability to be a good husband.
Yes.
Yes, we're human beings. We're gonna have disagreements
Yeah,
and
of course,
argument,
and
which
that's
is
allowed, yeah.
life.
Yes.
And it doesn't make you any less Christian.
Yes.
But then it's how we relate with God will determine how we relate with others.
That's
And the
right.
truth being told, some people get together, but they were never meant to be together.
Yeah,
They
true.
didn't. And because in the moment
Oh
you
my
were
God.
in your feelings, in
Yes.
the moment you had those
Yeah.
butterflies. But then the butterflies turn to cockroaches, and then you start to
Yeah.
see the reality of life.
That's right.
So it's a two-way thing, as
Yeah.
Ola said.
I'm
And,
go-
and also, let me
Wow.
just lay it
Yes.
out, because sometimes I don't even also believe there's something I've that's happened. I've experienced it personally as well, where they say, "Oh, God said this is your husband," and God said this is your wife.
dangerous.
Personally, I think it's rubbish.
Very, very
because I feel
dangerous.
like God cannot put you with someone that you're not compatible with.
Yes.
And when they say, "Okay, oh, you're
Oh,
meant to, you go to a pastor,
hold on. My question is,
Yeah.
does God pick your partners
That's
for
a-
you?
I think that's a complicated question. I think it's really complicated because you know why? Because I've heard people say, "Oh, God said that this is my husband," and then they marry the person, and the person is horrible, and you keep
Absolutely.
asking God, "What did I do to you
Yeah.
to give me such a person?"
Yeah.
And you can see the red flags. You can see this guy's not, but you keep holding on
Yeah.
to go.
God
God
said.
said. God said.
Yeah.
Come on. The question is this: here, if God told somebody, someone gave you a prophecy now and said, "Oh, this person is your husband," did you go and pray about it? Did you go and ask God?
Did
and
they
say, "Okay,
fit?
God, until you show me this thing, until I know
Yes.
that this is from you,
Yeah.
then I would." Let me give a story about someone that, again, we're all Africans here. So there's a pastor that went to the mountain to pray, and there's been a woman there for like ages praying about her husband. She's in her 40s or 50s or something, and she's been praying about her husband. And that very day that he was there, this was the story that he told me. She was praying again about marriage and God should give her a husband and everything. And then a pastor now gave her a prophecy that immediately she comes out of the mountain, the first guy she sees is her husband.
That's the
Oh
husband.
my gosh, like
Wow.
answered prayers.
Oh,
And then
yes.
she went out, and the first guy she saw was an imbecile,
Oh my goodness.
and she married him.
What?
And you're there cleaning his saliva. No. What kind of life are you gonna have? And why would God do such a thing to you?
Can I tell you the truth? God
Yes.
can. I don't doubt his ability to. However, I believe as Christians we can't become sentimental sometimes, and we don't use our heads. I've got to a place now. Maybe 15 years ago, you could have got me with a prophecy. Now, no, God didn't tell me that. So keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel there's a lot of manipulation, spiritual manipulation going on in churches. I've had instances, stories I've heard, and even personal experiences where pastors will match you with
Matchmaking.
people, not because God said anything,
Yeah.
but
It
because they don't
profits
want
them.
to lose members.
It
Yeah,
profits
yeah,
them.
Because
yeah.
they know if the woman
Come
is
on.
active in
Yes.
church, she's very, very important in her role. If one handsome dude from another ministry comes to take her, pastor knows he's lost.
Yeah,
Yes.
So he's going to tell you God said this. I've had instances, someone that I know, the pastor said, a guy that was probably like 10, 15 years her junior. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but she's got her preference, and that's not what she
Yeah.
wants. So I'm in my 30s, 40s. You're telling me to marry a 20-year-old? Like, how does it make sense? God, I don't know what God spoke to you, but that's
they
not
didn't
my
say that to
God.
me.
You
Yes,
get what I'm saying?
exactly.
So I feel we as believers, we have to be alert. Don't be so gullible, and I will say it again. Don't be so gullible that anything your pastor says to you, take it hook, line and sinker. Even God that's almighty has given us free will.
Yes,
So
that's
it's not
right.
what your
That's
pastor
where I'm
says
going.
that you're going to take without questioning.
Yes.
Like, marriage is beautiful, as I said. It's not for everybody, and I think as Christians we need to accept that. It doesn't make the person any less of a Christian, or you don't have faith. You'll see a woman in her 50s and the only prophecy you're seeing is about marriage. What about her business? What about her ministry? What about other things, you know what I mean,
Yes,
to add value
absolutely.
to society?
Yes.
So God can, but I still feel we need to be alert. We need to
Yeah.
be wise. We need to be discerning because there's a lot of manipulation.
I feel like a lot
that's
of
going
Christians
on.
are lazy though. I feel like there's a lot of laziness going on because building a relationship with God is difficult. Praying constantly is difficult.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes you want to pray, you don't have anything to. You're just there, just like God. What are we doing here? Or you're trying to read the Bible constantly. Because I do that all the time. Every month is a fresh month for me. Oh God, we are starting afresh. Because you're saying, okay, you know what? This month I'm supposed to be reading the book of Daniel.
I'm supposed to.
Yes,
I like that.
because I've been stuck on chapter 7
Oh,
since
Lord.
the middle of the month.
Holy Spirit, Holy
Of the
Spirit.
month,
It's
and I've not
real.
finished it.
It's
So
real.
it's difficult, and we just want a quick fix, and that's why
Yes.
that's why it's easy for the pastors to take advantage because
Yes.
you're not ready to do the work, you're not ready to fast, you're not ready to intercede, and you're like, God, show me the way, and because you're expecting God to just tell you, just want to Pastor. What did God say?
Quick.
You want a quick, but
It's so funny. Sorry to cut you. It's so funny because even before we started recording, I was watching a movie that's just come out. I don't want to say the name just in case of advertising, but there was a movie that got really popular last year, and they've introduced a part 2 of it. And what the actor was saying, he was a pastor, like a fake pastor, and he was just saying the reason why he does these things fake thing is because people just want miracle this, miracle that. They're not ready to put the work in. They like the deception. They want
Yes.
it. So they're going to give you what you want.
Yes,
But again, you as a Christian, you need to put the work in. If you desire marriage, there's nothing wrong with it. If you don't desire marriage, there is nothing wrong. What is God saying concerning your life?
That's
What is the
correct.
purpose of God for your
Yeah.
life? And if you are marrying someone, why? Is it because they will look good in your Instagram pictures? Or is it because you believe me coming together with this person, we can fulfill a purpose, we can do something, we can add value,
Trophy-
you know, to
trophy wife,
society.
trophy
yeah, Or
wife.
you just want the fine figure eight. You understand?
Occasion.
It's a
Motives
it's a
matter.
laziness thing for me. In every and you know when people say, "Oh, this pastor has brainwashed this person," or "This
Yes.
pastor has done this,"
Yes.
for me, I always blame the congregation.
Yeah.
Because for me, why are you calling the pastor daddy? Is he your father? He's not your father. Why are you calling him daddy?
Bigging up his ego.
Why you exactly when he comes,
Well,
you've been kneeling down, greet. Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
It is a feel of honor. It is
It's-
an
it's- for me,
expression of
it's-
honor.
For me, it's rubbish. There's a level of respect I'm going to give you because you're a pastor. But don't think I'm foolish by doing it and come and be saying all sorts to me.
I believe that it's cultural.
Yeah, I was
as
going
well.
to say
Yeah,
the
it's a-
same
yeah,
thing.
Because
It's a problem.
when you look at it here in the UK, Western words, let me put it, not particularly only in the UK, we realize that respect is not by kneeling down, rubbing the
course.
floor. Respect is how you speak, how you interact, how you present yourself.
Yeah.
You might give an handshake.
Yeah.
And you still respect the person.
Yeah.
You call them by name, you still
Yeah.
respect them. But coming from cultural background like we do,
I think yes.
Yes.
I
It's a
was going to
cultural
say
thing. Yeah,
it
definitely.
is coming from like as young children as we were. You had Big Mummy and Big Daddy. Those were people that may be older than your parents, so you couldn't call them auntie because they're
Yeah.
not. So I get that on that aspect, but. One thing that I read, I think it was the reason why it's become prevalent in our society now, where pastors are insisting that church members call them daddies, because to a certain degree, with your parents, maybe not now as much, but in the past, you don't really question your parents. Whatever you're told to do, you do it. So the psychology of calling your pastor daddy is like, I can't question you.
sorry, let me hold on a minute.
That's
Hold on a
what I
minute.
read.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
I was about to drop something there.
Go on then. Go
Can
on.
you question God?
I wouldn't question God
Why not?
because he's God.
Okay, can you when you ask God something and say, God, why am I going through this thing? Is that not you questioning God?
Okay, let me rephrase. I won't question God being God. I can ask about my
But-
situation,
yeah, about your
but
situation.
his position as God is unquestionable.
Yeah, of course.
But yes, I get.
So
I,
you can
yes,
ask questions
yeah,
and say,
yeah.
God,
Yes,
why am I going through this?
Absolutely,
Why is
yes.
this happening? So
Absolutely,
if I can do that to God, why can't I question you as a pastor?
I know, but it's the psychology.
Right,
Of it.
but-
It's
I
not that I
See,
agree with
I don't
it.
care who you are.
Hold on a minute.
I don't
Hold
care
on a
which
minute.
pastor you are.
Hold on a minute.
I will ask you a question.
Hold on
If,
a
for
minute.
example, you're asking me to donate money to a building of a school and my child cannot afford to go to that school
Hold
and I
on.
donated to that school,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you questions. Why is that possible?
Hold
How
on.
is that possible?
Hold on.
Sorry, we've gone from marriage to something else.
That's
I'm
correct.
sorry. I'm
so,
sorry.
So I'm going to bring you back to that. And in bringing you back to that, I want you to remember this.
Yes.
And coming from the cultural background, and this is where I think, and you will see so much breakup coming from a marriage institution in Africa and bringing it here. They don't work.
Yeah.
Except you are able to now gain the knowledge of how it works here and then match make whatever you want to do. Now, do you realize that you saying about daddy, some husband require their wives to call them daddy?
Right. So when they are sleeping with them, they're calling them daddy, right? If you like
see,
me to call you daddy as far as a pet name.
No,
But that's different.
They want it as a honor.
That's what I'm saying.
Daddy
So
wa,
it's imposing.
daddy wa, mommy wa.
It's no.
You know, we have that going on.
It's like, come on now, like what's that?
Our daddy, our mommy.
If it's a pet name, it's different. Like that's what you guys call yourself as per pet. Like love, honey, daddy, more. Like you guys tease about
But
it.
when
When you're
imposing,
imposing it, and I know families that the wives call their husband's daddy, and for me personally, I don't like it. I mean,
some have to kneel down to service their husband.
That's not this generation, it's before generation.
Before generation.
Yeah, because,
right. For some people, they're still waiting for that sort of treatment. You heard it from all. That's old generation. Get renewed now. Renew your mind.
No, so the thing is, the truth of the matter, let's come back to marriage, but I feel like every marriage is different. And for me personally, I can't read books on, like, all these Christian books on marriages. Or any book on marriage that says, oh, this is how a marriage, because you're always going to write that book from your own perspective.
Absolutely.
And every
right.
marriage is very different because we are two different people.
Yes.
Whatever may have worked for you may not necessarily work for me. And I feel like when you want to come together and you say, okay, no, I want to get married, there's a lot of conversation that needs to be had. The hard questions. How are we raising our kids? Are we having a joint account?
Yes.
I mean, are they speaking other languages? What's your belief on me working after having kids? There's so much we don't talk about. We just want to get married just for the fact of getting married. A lot of women are very delusional in the whole marriage thing. Like, there's a video I saw as well of a girl saying that the guy asked, do you want your husband to know how much you make? And she's like, no, why does he want to know how much I make? But then you want to know how much he makes because he's the provider. Sorry?
Imagine. Imagine. It's true.
We need to decide if we are putting money together. You don't necessarily have to pay up 50%, but you must pay something.
Yes.
It's a must.
Absolutely.
You must contribute to it. Just because I'm the man doesn't mean that I'm going to
Kill
pay for
myself.
everything or kill my. You need your work. Your sole purpose is to be a helper.
Absolutely.
You're supposed to support him. You're supposed to help him, and vice versa as well. So if he needs, don't assume.
Some people think that's taking control. You know.
No, it's not taking control. But you guys sit down together and have that conversation.
Find what works for you.
Exactly.
I know.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Married books don't work. It's all
Yes.
BS as far as I'm concerned. Because every marriage is different.
It's different.
You need to find out what works for you and make it work. And it only works if you guys talk.
That's
There's
correct.
conversation.
Communication
And don't
is
be
key,
upset
yeah.
about, oh, why did you ask me that? You have to be teachable. You have to be open-minded.
Yes.
You have to, oh, what did you mean when you said this? Oh, you know what you said, I didn't quite like it.
Yeah.
You know, next time, can you just say it in a different way and accept it?
You know what that you saying that also comes down to the fact that you can't even know a person in 20 years.
No, you can't.
You're still getting to know them.
Even you're
After
still getting
50
to know
years. You see,
yourself.
and that is where I'm going. I mean, that is I mean, you want to marry your best friend. Who are you to yourself? The Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. Do you love yourself? Are you a friend to yourself? I mean, some people, they're looking for friendship, approval of friendship from someone else. So if you say tomorrow, I want to be friends with you, Ola, and Ola says, oh, no, let's just, I don't want to be friends like that. I just, I want to say hi and go. And then I look down on myself, low self-esteem, because what? I didn't put value on myself to love myself without Allah. So I feel like if Allah rejects my proposal, means that I'm not good enough. And also, I would say, that guy you want to get married to, do you see Jesus Christ in him?
It's a complicated thing as well.
That is how you would know.
I can see Jesus, but I can also see a devil sometimes too. And that's the same for me. Like, to some people, I'm an angel. To other
some
people,
people, they don't
I'm a
hate you.
thorn in the
Yeah, of
flesh. The
course.
thing is, as humans, daily we're striving to crucify our flesh.
Yes.
And when you're in a marriage with someone, they're gonna see all angles
Yeah.
of you. Right now, people are only seeing Sarah on the podcast, Sarah that can speak very well, but they don't see me in my element. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's the man that will marry me that will see me in my element and say, despite her flaws and whatever, there is something in her that I believe God has,
Thank you,
and it's for
Lord.
me to agree. It's not just you saying God told you. If God is not telling me,
Yeah, we're
please.
not doing this.
And this whole thing of shaming people because of their age and stuff, it needs to stop because people have gone into marriage because of age,
Yeah.
age and
Yes.
died.
Yeah, of
Yes.
course.
And they have died because of societal pressures, because of pressures from the pulpit. It needs
Yeah.
to stop.
Yes.
Yeah.
But do you get what I'm saying? That as long as there's human beings, there's going to be issues.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think one thing that Ola said as well, communication, not only communication, but the willing to compromise. Sometimes I'm going to have to
You have to bend.
compromise the things that I don't necessarily like, and
Yes.
vice versa. It's not
Yeah.
just always the woman, oh, you must submit. So
Yeah.
man, you don't know everything.
Yes.
And that's the truth. But the beauty of it is your wife won't show your flaws to the world. She will cover you.
Yeah.
Yes.
But when you're in your closet, in
Then
your
she can
chamber,
then, yeah.
she can say, my love, my husband,
should have done it like this.
Don't do it like this. Next time, maybe do it like this. And a wise husband,
Yeah.
my wife, I know you've got the best interests for me. I'll take your advice. Let's work together. Let's
Yeah.
move forward. So it's a complex thing. I think looking at marriages of friends, of family and stuff like that, we learn so much. And they always say it's when you get into it, you'll see your own.
Yes.
So maybe when I get into it, I'll see something new that I don't know.
Yes.
But there are so many factors.
I mean,
to consider.
using myself as a case study here, and I want our guest to
Okay.
to give me
Honest opinion.
honest opinion on this. Me using myself as a case study is the fact that I've been there, and it's not just what I've just started hearing, but I always wanted to. I find my relationship to work with somebody I know very well. So I would always tend to love my best friend more than somebody I would just meet randomly. And apology to those who's done it to me. No offense. Okay. But yeah, I've got a lot of, rejection from that. And the thing is, I think that I want to marry my best friend. And my best friend is saying, no, we're just friends. And that would go on for many years. And also, what comes out after that is the fact that when those things come down to you can't marry your best friend because you are in a friend circle. Quite a lot of people have come to me and say, no, because we're in the same circle. Many people know, my business. So me going into a relationship with you wouldn't work because that means that I wouldn't be able to do something outside of that friendship.
You want to take this or should I?
I think, as we've been saying, every situation is different. There are some friendships, maybe, I don't know, you grew up literally from nappies together, you've grown up, and you've just been as brother and sister, and introducing a romantic dynamic can ruin the relationship. You can be great friends, but terrible lovers, or terrible husband and wife.
Yes.
But that's not to say it doesn't work. It does work for some people. And again, there is someone maybe you might meet yesterday. There's someone maybe I met 2 months ago. Yes, I know we have to be wise in those instances, but there are some people you meet over a short period of time and they prove themselves and you connect on a deeper level than someone maybe you've known for 10 years. So I think each situation is different. You really have to weigh it up, assess it. But I think you have to be open to the possibility of the person saying no. And assessing how the dynamic of the relationship will be going forward, because it can destroy it.
Yes.
But every situation is possible.
I think it's possible as well, but I also feel like when you decide to make that transition from being best friends to trying a relationship, you still have to go through those conversations that you
goes
have
back
with
to-
anyone, because you feel like it will be easier because you guys know each other.
Yes.
But it doesn't necessarily mean it's easier because the
Absolutely.
conversation is different.
Yeah.
So it's as good as meeting someone new, because there are certain things you guys are going to be talking about that you've not talked about before. So as Sarah said, it depends on if you find your friend attractive, you find your friend attractive. I just feel like, and I think it's age on my side. The older I get, the more blunt and more straightforward I am about telling you how I feel about you.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to play or say, oh, let the guy come and ask me, yo, I like you.
Yeah.
You like me. Let's do this. Let's check this out. Let's try this out. Because I feel like
Yes.
time is just
Time is
going,
going,
waiting for the
absolutely.
guy, and the guy is already thinking, oh, this girl doesn't like me.
Yes,
Like, so
yes.
I feel like it all boils down to what you like. And I feel like for me, I always tell my friends, write a list of the things that you
Yes.
like in a
Yes.
guy.
Yes.
Write your deal breakers
Yes.
and your compromises.
Yes.
Because a guy will never fit into 100% of what you want.
No.
And
Six
it's same
feet.
thing with the
6 feet too.
and it's same thing with
Built.
same thing with women as well. Like they will never fit, and I think
Yeah.
that's the beauty of relationship with marriages as well, because you guys
Yes.
would then grow together and learn about each other.
That's
At
right.
every point in your life, your needs and your wants change.
That's correct.
When you're in your 20s, your needs and wants is different. When you're 30s or 40s, so your spouse also is experiencing that. So you're growing and finding that out together. And I think that's the beauty of it. But when you're stuck in your I don't like this. Why did you, it's a constant problem. Or but you used to like this before. Why don't you like it anymore? It's that as I say, that conversation is never ending.
It's
You're
never ending.
always having that
I'm
conversation.
glad you mentioned about the knowledge, which is the conversation, because if you put in the conversation out there, asking the questions, you're getting to know them. So that's acquiring knowledge about who that
definitely. You keep
person is.
asking questions.
But also, I would say that you don't necessarily, you can't actually know a person
No, you can't.
by what they tell you or what they do
Sometimes-
around you.
No, you
Fully. But you can also get to ask question from who is your parent? Can I see your dad?
It's different.
Can I see your mom? Can I see your friend?
I think it's
I mean-
I think it's different because, as I said, your needs and your wants change
Yes.
at certain points in your life. My parents only know what I want them to know. I only reveal to
Ooh.
them what I want them to. It depends on your relationship with your parents as well.
That's right.
What if I'm not close with my parents? So it depends on even if you ask people about me,
They might not
they may say,
still.
"Oh, Ola is confident. Ola is this, Ola is that." But people don't know that Ola is very shy. There's only a few people that know Ola is very
That's
shy.
right, I do.
But some people will say Ola is confident, but Ola is
Yes.
actually very shy. So
Yes.
it depends on what she said. It depends on what I reveal to you.
Yes,
Whereas
that you
who
wish.
you're with would know.
They will know.
Will
They
know
will know.
100%, not necessarily 100%,
they'll
because
know
I said
more.
you're constantly changing.
Yes.
You understand? But it's important. That conversation is never ending.
Do you agree with the saying that says you don't marry who you love, but you love who you marry?
Yeah, I want to love who I marry. I marry who I love, please.
Okay, I feel like from the first when you get married,
You don't marry who you love.
I think you need to marry who you love.
Oh,
Then
really?
make
But
a
at the
decision
same
to
time,
love them as
you have
well.
to also make the decision to love them, because when you marry someone who you love, at one point, because it's like when you start dating someone, you go through the how they call it, honeymoon phase, where you're constantly calling each other. You're like, oh my god, I can't live without you. Then you go through all of that.
Oh, can you drop now? Oh, no,
And then,
I
yeah,
can't.
and then
Can you stay
that
5
phase sort
minutes?
of dies down.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the new friendship. When you meet
Yes.
someone that you have friends, you guys have a lot of things in common. You're constantly talking, but then it gets to a point. I'm busy. You stop talking.
Yes, that's right. Life
Now,
happens.
is the love that you had for the person initially is what now takes you further to then continue that relationship
And being intentional.
and that is what makes it continue, and then you begin to fall in love again with the person, because then you're discovering things. So
mean,
it's important that you marry who you love, and then you still love
who you
them,
marry.
love who you
And
marry.
I think that's why I said, like, marry someone that you like, because
important.
sometimes
You just
that
wanna kill
romantic love is not going to be
Yeah.
there. But if you're my guy, like, if
yeah.
we can bounce, you know what I mean? Even though what you just did, like, you've got on my, but that's still my friend.
Yeah.
Like, even with our normal friends, we'll have disagreements and stuff, but you know, that's my girl, that's my boy, that's
Yes.
you. So marry someone that you like. It's important. And
It's
don't let any
important.
prophecy go and cause you to put your
No,
head
no,
in.
no.
Yes.
Whatever
something.
prophecy you get, you need to definitely double check it.
Yes.
Like, I try as much as possible not to do prophecies anymore. because subconsciously you also try to make the prophecy come to pass
Yes.
subconsciously.
Yes.
So I try as much as possible to stay away from it. I just keep praying about
Let
it.
the will of God
Let the will of
take
God
place.
happen, and I keep saying, God, this is what I want. I really want this to happen, but if it doesn't happen, I will understand. I know that it's for
You
your
are
will. I
sovereign.
get you. So I feel, and again, is if you can, people. I have conversations with God, like, God, what's going on, man? Like I'm feeling like this. Like I was feeling so down. Like I was feeling defeated. Like on Wednesday, and I was like, God, I'm feeling defeated. Why am I feeling? What's going on? Why am I feeling defeated? Like. You need to have those conversations with God as well. Like, you know, God, I'm feeling this way, and this man was just stressing me out. What do I do? And God will find ways to calm you down or to lead you and whatnot. So I feel like if you make the decision that you want to get married, it's hard work, and you need to understand that it's hard work. It's not an easy journey because you are growing with someone that you don't really know his personality 100% or her personality 100%, and need to constantly change. So if you have that at the back of your mind and you're open-minded, you're teachable, I don't like when you say this to me and you're not reacting, what do you mean? There has to be that level of me being able to tell you how I feel without feeling bad about it.
Yes.
And you're going to accept it, like, okay, my wife doesn't like this or my husband doesn't like this, let me stop it. There are some couples, they have signals. Like when they go to a gathering and you know that the husband is maybe he's an introvert and she's the one that is always, when he just does like this, she knows straight that it's time to go home because they know they know themselves so well. They've talked about it. Like, I don't really like gatherings. So when I start winking at you like this, just know that
It's time
Get
to
ready,
go.
let's
it's
go.
time to go.
I mean, this is interesting, and I think it's taking quite a lot, and is bringing so much out. And I love the fact that Ola, you were saying that it's good, and Sarah second that it's good to marry somebody you actually love or you like. Because what does happen is what we see in broken homes these days. And I say broken homes. There are homes that go separate ways, but they are not broken. Do you agree with me on that? There are homes that are still they're
co-parenting,
parenting very
doing
well
life together,
because they value that friendship. I mean, before we started recording, there's a friend of mine that called me out of the blooms, and I've been trying to chase that friend for a while now. Say, I haven't heard from you, and that friend hasn't called back. And all of a sudden, I got that. If it was somebody that wasn't friend, I'm sure they wouldn't even bother calling back. So it is important that our society is built on friendship, and real love. Even if those things don't work out, you can guarantee that kids that were brought into it don't suffer the consequences of those choices.
So, talking about if it doesn't work out, I think we also need to understand that if it doesn't work out, it's okay.
It's okay.
It's fine,
People don't like talking
people
about
people
that.
don't like talking like, oh,
Yeah,
no.
why would
Like,
you even have that mindset?
You blocked. Okay, now we've gone our separate ways. Then you blocked me on Instagram. You blocked me everywhere. We're communicating via email. Your kids never see us talking together. It's okay if it doesn't work out. It's fine, even if she was one that pulled the plug. And that happens a lot with African men as well. Like, you're trying to be spiteful because she says she doesn't want to do anymore. Bruh, she doesn't want to do anymore. It's not by
And
force.
the thing is, it takes a long stretch for a woman to fully check out. So, and it just goes back to the communication. Do you get what I'm saying? And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't stop.
work out.
So, like, we should stop shaming people, embarrassing people, because the same people that will make fun of someone for leaving their marriage will say, "Why didn't you leave?" when they find out that the person has killed them. You understand? So
now you're starting a new conversation. You're starting a new conversation. Like, your husband is abusing you. You're telling, oh, God will do it. Just keep praying.
God hates divorce, but he loves. He wants you to be killed. God forbid. Please. And it's a religious brainwashing. Yes, we know the word, but apply wisdom. Like marriage, there's no marriage in heaven. So if you don't get it here, do you know what I mean? It is what it is. You enjoy the small that you enjoy. We pray. We're not advocating for separation of marriage. No, marriage is beautiful. But be led by God. Don't be led by your emotions. Don't be led by a random prophecy. Let God lead you and direct you. And even when God is the captain of your home, even when because both of you fear God, that is that fear and love for God that will keep
Keep it
you
together.
coming back together. Do you get what I'm saying? And if
right.
it doesn't
It doesn't
work
work
out,
out,
it doesn't work out. We
Yes.
lose.
It's about the
Yes.
kids at the end of the day. You now build a life
That's
around
right.
the kids.
Yes.
Okay,
That's your life,
and that's
to be
what it
honest,
is.
yeah.
But people always feel, oh, it didn't work out. Oh, so I'm gonna be spiteful. I'm gonna this not necessary. We're all grown people. Like I don't have time. I don't have the mental capacity to deal with all of that. Like I just can't be that. So what do you want? What do I want? Let's
Yes.
meet in the middle and
That's
let's
right.
be all right. You know, life
Yes.
is too short for all of that.
That's
So I
right.
feel like when you feel like, okay, you know what, and even it all boils down to even having kids. When you're
Yes.
getting married or you feel like you want to settle down, if you don't want to have kids, let your partner know that you don't want to have kids.
Absolutely.
Don't then get married because you want to get married,
Yeah.
and then in the middle, when you know after the wedding, you now turn around and say, by the way, I don't want to have
That's
kids. Or
wickedness.
come on now.
These
Why
are
did you say this
fundamental
before?
conversations. That
These
it's
are
not what's your
conversations you should be
favorite
having.
color.
Yeah.
It's not what's your favorite color. What country do you want to live in?
How
Do you have
raising
any
the
mental
kids?
illness in your family?
Aha.
What's it? Do you know?
These are
That's right.
deep,
Yes.
deep
Because
questions, not like, oh, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? I don't want to know that. I want to know how we are going to build this life.
right,
And again, if you don't
absolutely.
want kids too, it's perfectly
It's
fine.
fine,
And there are men that also don't want kids. There are women that don't also want kids. Find your match and talk about it. I don't want to have kids. I want to have 7 kids. 7 kids. I love you so much, but I don't love you 7 kids.
You
How
know-
can we
you
find
know-
a balance?
It's a beautiful thing that you mentioned that, because many people would say that's contradicting. Go ye, multiply, and be
We're already
fruitful.
plenty.
Fruitful and multiply.
We're already plenty in this world.
Now, there, Sarah said something in one of our podcasts that there are spiritual kids, and we would find out that Christ today had spiritual kids, and he never had one of his own.
Yeah.
But his offspring is everywhere, and many of us claim. Like we say,
We need
we claim
clarity.
I'm the blessing of Abraham. I'm a son of Abraham, and is Abraham your father? But yeah, he is.
Technically, yeah.
Technically. So, and that is what it is. I mean, you don't necessarily, like
Have
you
to
say,
give birth
have
to.
to have.
Yeah, you can adopt.
If that is a life you've chosen yourself, and Christian community need to respect those
decisions,
areas.
Not just
and
Christian
those-
communities, African
yes.
communities. Oh, when are you having?
Yeah,
You guys are not. What's going on? Like, and then like I have a daughter, and then they were like, "Oh, are you not gonna have the second one?" And the question is, please, this second one,
Are you
gonna
funding?
carry the second one? Because it's not
Deliver it for
easy
me.
carrying a child for 9 months.
Yeah.
Are you gonna take care of this? Because my daughter is into everything: gymnastics, ballet. These things cost money. They're not
Yes.
cheap, and obviously they should demand your time. Are you ready to do all of that? So it's having those
Ballet,
conversations.
Yes.
And
that,
I
you know.
think even it's insensitive because you don't know if someone's having conceiving
Yes.
issues, or maybe after the delivery of their child they had to take their womb out. You don't know.
Or they had
So
depression.
They
after-
had depression. Do you know what I
come
mean?
on.
There are so many. We need to be very sensitive with how we approach
not your
certain
business.
And exactly, there's certain things that just have nothing to do with you. Stay in your lane.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Stop imposing yourself. Stop. And I find as well, not always, but sometimes these busybody aunties, whatever, when you marry, but you don't see them with a man. Like you don't see them. So why are you? If marriage was so good, where is your one? You
Oh,
understand?
no.
But
What?
sorry, sorry.
I would-
Excuse me, ma. Please, where's your husband, sir?
Oh, wow, Sarah's
I'm sorry,
asked
I
that
just
question
thrown a
now.
bomb.
No, but
And I would
she has
love-
a point.
Oh
though.
yes,
She has
oh
a
yes,
very
and
good point.
that's
They need to
sending
be
that
asked.
back to our audience right now.
They need to be
And
asked.
please, we would love you to join in this conversation. If you have married and it's worked, your best friend, let us know what key factor did work in that marriage and what is keeping that marriage going. And if you didn't marry your best friend, but you married somebody you love, I mean, let us know. Share those experiences with us. And on the final note,
My final note, man. There's a lot to talk about, and there's a lot more to talk about because when you talked about people staying in their lane, I went back to some stories I heard about pastors giving advice on how the husband should How do you put it?
How the wife should take care of the husband.
In the bedroom, which I feel like it's not. It's like you're not even supposed to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
your husband says don't go to this church, or your
What
husband says don't go to
information
vigil.
or what information to let your husband know?
Yeah, exactly. Like there's just you're just out
I've
of
given
your,
you this spiritual what's it called, prophecy now, but don't tell your husband.
don't tell your husband.
Why are you a unit?
You'd be like, you should try and do you shouldn't be having such conversations.
involved,
Like
yeah.
if she comes to you and says, oh, this is what's happening in my marriage or whatever it is, then both of you should come and sit down together and have a conversation. You shouldn't be intruding. That's what I think it is. It's not your business. Deal with your marriage. Let me deal with my marriage. And for me, I feel like that's important. But in terms of marriage, my notes are, my final thoughts is, if you don't want to get married, it's fine. If you want to live your life unmarried, it's very okay, but make that decision yourself. Never be pressured into getting married. And if you do want to get married, ask the difficult questions. Ask, okay, what's our life going to be in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years? What's your ambition? What's your dream? What do you want to achieve? Because I think one of the worst things to do is to marry someone that is not ambitious. It's so exhausting. Like, they don't have any will. They just want to just be. They don't want to achieve anything. I think for me personally, especially if you're a high achiever, it's really difficult to be in that sort of relationship. And also always ask God to guide you. Always pray about things. Even if they say, oh, God said this is your husband, tell God to show you signs that he is the right person. Don't be fooled that it's only pastors that can hear from God. Don't be fooled. Don't feel like God cannot speak to you. That is the
Lies from the pit of
lies
hell.
they've been selling us. And thank God I always thank God for COVID, because COVID was one that broke that open.
Absolutely.
Praise God, praise
It's
God.
a lie. If you ask God questions,
Yes.
if you keep going to God, like, God, this thing, God will always, you may not get the answer the way you want to get it.
Yes.
But God will always answer you.
Because we think it's the atmosphere. So when COVID happened, we realized that God is now speaking in the toilet. God is now speaking
God
in
is
your
always
room.
spoken. That
God
toilet,
is speaking in that
God
garden.
speaks in the toilet all the time.
You know, because we're not
All the time. Everybody can attest to that. God always speaks in the toilet.
But before, you have to get to an atmosphere in the church,
Yeah.
worship, saints, and then you know, oh, God is speaking now.
No. You need to build that relationship with God.
Yes.
It's not easy, trust me, because as I said, it's always a refresh. I'm sure next month I'm starting again.
Yes.
I'm very told God we're starting again.
Daniel or Esther, which one?
We'll finish Daniel and then we'll move
go
to
to
the
somewhere.
next one. And then for sometimes I'm reading the Bible, like I was reading Leviticus. I'm like, God, this book is boring, man. Like, can I skip to First Kings? We'll come back to it. So that's God has got a sense of humor as well. So build that relationship with God.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes.
And my final notes: can you marry your best friend? Yes, you can. But again, every situation is unique to itself. Don't be pressured by society. Don't even be pressured by the church. Don't be pressured by family. The most important opinion that you need to take note of is God's opinion.
Yes.
And the only way you're going to know that and not have it contaminated or manipulated, as Ola said, is develop that relationship so he can talk to you, so he can guide you. If you're receiving a prophecy, it's because it's confirmation of what your Heavenly Father has already told you. If you don't feel peace about a situation, don't be guilt tripped into it. Don't be, you see maybe this person's financially buoyant or whatever, and you say, okay, no. Because there are people who had money, but they suffered and are suffering.
Yes.
So marriage is beautiful. Marriage is a glorious, glorious institution. And if you desire it, you desire a good thing. And if you don't desire it, God is still with you. So those are my notes.
You not getting married doesn't take you to heaven.
No.
Yeah, and there's no marriage in heaven as well.
It's through Jesus. So
That's
if you don't get married, you still end up in heaven. As long as you go through Jesus. If you're married, it's the same thing. So it's not a do or die affair.
Come on, Pastor Holler's giving us the key to get into heaven. Please write out. Take out marriage.
It's not part of the key. It wasn't mentioned.
Oh my God.
And yes, we had a beautiful time. Thank you so much, our special guest. This is brilliant. I mean, I don't even want to leave now. I mean, I'm thinking, wow. This is the reason. This is the reason why marrying your best friend probably didn't work for me. But marrying your friend did work now.
Yeah.
Because you've got to know, gone are the days when back in the day, parents would bring a lady from the village, somebody you don't even know.
But those marriages sort of work though.
They sort
They
of
didn't have a
work
choice,
until time has changed, and then you realize that you want a city girl.
Or the village girl becomes the city
Or
girl,
this
but then you want the
girl,
village
You see
girl.
what?
Clear.
Exactly. I mean,
Oh, God.
those things don't. So now you've got to open your eyes.
Yeah.
That's what Sarah was saying. Please keep your eyes open, wide open. And all I said it. Please take the questions. Make sure that all boxes are ticked before you go into it. And then you will have a blissful marriage, a blissful home, a home filled with God present as the center, as the head of the home. And that's what we would say on this podcast today. Thank you, our viewers. Thank you, Sarah, as always.
My pleasure.
Holla in the building.
Thank
Thank you
for
so
having me.
much.
Thank
This is
you.
brilliant. Thank you so. I hope we will see you again.
We'll think about it.
If you want Holla again, please let us know. Thank you and God bless. This is Scriptures with Andrew Daniels. Until we come your way again. God bless you. Thanks for watching. We hope this message has been a blessing to you. Why not like, share, and subscribe? And also, don't forget to give that notification button a friendly tap to. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next video. God bless you.